What's going on, everyone? This is Jack with the Trading Tribe. Welcome back to the channel for another trade breakdown or trade recap. Today I wanted to go through my most recent trade that I put on in the natural gas futures market, which is one of my favorite futures markets to trade or to swing trade. And I wanted to go through my most recent trend trade on natural gas as it's began a really nice uptrend towards the later half of this year, and I've been buying a lot of these dips, and this was the most recent one, and I actually closed it today on December 11th. And essentially, we can see here on my TrazeZella stats that I was able to pull out about $11,000 out of the market after fees. So this is net, traded about 5 contracts of natural gas. If you've been on the channel before, you know I like to scale into my trade and then typically exit together, but we can see here we had multiple entries and then we had a single exit once we started getting a little weaker today into this big rally. If we look down here at the running P&L of the trade too, we can see it was off to kind of a slow start for a little bit here. I was pretty much break even for a few hours, and then it was essentially just a steady climb. And by the time I woke up today, right, we were pretty close to target, and that just drifted higher and higher. So really ended up working out really well. Came up to a really common resistance area where I was prepared to exit, and then I did exit there. If we look here on the left, these were my executions. So of those 5 contracts, you can see I kind of started in with small size, added into confirmation, and then added a final contract into a lot of confirmation. Today, right around midday, is when I ended up taking the trade off for that 11,000 in profits. If we look also on kind of the ThinkorSwim side, here we can see on the left kind of where my idea stemmed from, and I like to start here because as a swing trader, right, we like to zoom out to really understand what a given market is doing. And for natural gas, we can see really ever since early November here on the left to now, gas has essentially just been drifting higher in an uptrend. So we can see this moving average is kind of stair stepping up here is the 20 daily moving average or simple moving average. I have this plotted on a 4-hour time frame. And we can see natural gas really every time it gets near that 20, it's had some really, really nice reactions. So we can see in early November, right, massive move off of that moving average. Mid-November, same thing, right? A huge move from the mid 2s to the mid 3s, which in the natural gas market is an extremely large move. And as of earlier this week, you can see that we kind of came back down to that 20 and have been essentially consolidating at that 20, which gave me the idea. So essentially, I'll typically look for dip buys on uptrends. And so when I get a dip into a moving average or a key level that I'm interested in, that's really when I will start to watch for strength. And that's exactly what I did here. So we can see with that gap on Sunday, we actually pulled back to that 20. We actually held that 20 again. And that is essentially when I began entering the trade. So if we look here on the right, this is the 1 minute, and I can go back to December 10th. And I can see kind of where I started in on the trade. So once the trade started moving extremely well to the upside, or we saw this huge buying spike, that's where I essentially started in on the trade. After another large move up is where I added, and then I continued and added kind of that final clip on the trade into kind of that high of day push at the end of yesterday's session. With swing trades, right, the lower the better, obviously, because your average is really how your profits and stops are built upon. So I like to get in early on these dips so that my risk reward is extremely good. And here in this trade, right, my average was right here around that 3.13 area, which made it really easy as I woke up today. Right, you can see natural gas just continued higher. So I was up quite a bit as we saw on that TrazeZella P&L chart. By the time I woke up, which made it really easy to manage right at that point, that's typically where I'll move that stop to break even or even higher, depending on the structure of the trade. But we can see, right, natural gas ran all day long, and then right towards the end of the day, we actually lost that momentum, right? Started sliding down lower and had a really big move down. And that you can see is exactly where I ended up cutting the trade right here at that kind of lower low, essentially holding this to target or to one of the targets. Obviously, I was hopeful that maybe we could get to the very top of the natural gas chart on the 4-hour time frame, which would have been great, but we really did make our way up to some other big resistance areas. So this is how I will exit, right? If we do get up to a potential resistance area and we do see weakness, which we did right here at this key level multiple times today, that is where I decided to cut the trade. Hopefully this makes sense. I risked about $2,000 to make 11 within the natural gas futures market. If this video is helpful for how I swing trade the natural gas market, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel for a lot more content like this, and we will be back next time. Thanks everyone.